Thank you very much. I will cover the following four broad thematic areas: where we are, in the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, our expectations on how the agreement will impact lives and livelihood, the creation of value chains in Africa that we expect, and I will provide an update on our initiatives in industrialization, investment attraction, and trade facilitation. First of all, let me provide a status update on the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement signed by Nigeria. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a flagship project under the African Union's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Agenda 2063 was launched by the AU in 2015 as a blueprint for the realization of inclusive and sustainable growth on the continent over a period of 50 years, that is 2015 to 2063. Nigeria signed the African Cfta agreement on the 7th of July 2019 and submitted her instrument of ratification to the depository at the African Union Commission on the 5th of December 2020, becoming the 34th country to ratify the agreement. The objectives of the African Cfta are to create a single market for made-in-Africa goods and services, facilitated by free movement of persons to deepen economic integration of the continent, facilitate movement of capital and investment, building on initiatives in state parties or regional economic communities, promote and attain sustainable and inclusive socio-economic development, gender equality, and structural transformation of the state parties, enhance competitiveness of the economies of state parties within the continent and global markets, promote industrial development through diversification and regional value chain development, agricultural development, and food security, and lay the foundation for the establishment of a continental customs union. The African Cfta seeks to achieve the above general objectives through the following: progressively eliminating non-tariff barriers to trade, as well as tariff on 90% of tradable good items, progressive liberalization of trade in services, starting with 5 service sectors, namely financial services, business services, travel and tourism, communication services, and transportation. Cooperation on investment, intellectual property rights and competition policy, customs matters, and on all trade-related areas, as well as implementation of trade facilitation matters. Establishment of a mechanism for the settlement of disputes, and establishment and maintenance of an institutional framework for the implementation and administration of the African Cfta. The African Cfta negotiation is progressing in phases. Phase 1 involves the negotiations of the framework agreement, the protocols for trade in goods, trade in services, free movement of persons, as well as the mechanism for settlement of disputes. Phase 2 involves negotiation of competition policy, investment, intellectual property rights, and digital economy. The African Cfta member states have established subcommittees for different areas of the protocols, including rules of origin, customs procedures, trade facilitation and transit, non-tariff barriers, technical barriers to trade, sanitary and phytosanitary measures, trade remedies, trade in services, investment, competition policy, intellectual property rights, amongst others. 88% of rules of origin have been concluded, covering more than 70% of the intra-Africa trade. These products cut across the following chapter headings of agricultural products, including vegetable oil, fish, etc., sugar, textile, apparel and clothing, automotive, as well as treatment of special economic zones. Also, schedules of commitments for trade in services for Nigeria and ECOWAS are being compiled for submission to the African Cfta Secretariat. Although trading under African Cfta was flagged off on the 1st of January 2021, businesses can only commence trading once the aforementioned schedules are codified in the customs tariff books and other relevant regulations. Establishment of the framework and institution for dispute settlement is also in progress. State parties have submitted their nominations for the dispute settlement body. To ensure full implementation of the African Cfta agreement, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the National Action Committee on the African Cfta on the 20th of December 2019. The committee is chaired by myself, with the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, as the alternate chairperson. The Secretariat of the National Action Committee on the African Continental Free Trade Area has developed a national strategy and implementation plan to guide the implementation program. It has defined the framework for the designated competent authority for rules of origin compliant process, product and exporter registration and documentation. It has also initiated the process for the establishment of a trade remedies mechanism and authority to provide both an early warning and response systems for tackling predatory trade practices. It has commenced nationwide sensitization programs on the African Cfta and launched a subnational African Continental Free Trade Area program to mobilize the states to key into the program. I will now provide key updates and a general overview of the impact of the agreement on the trade and manufacturing sectors in Nigeria. The progressive elimination of tariffs on 90% of tariff lines will improve access to Africa's 1.3 billion consumers and $3.4 trillion GDP, increasing production capacity, reducing unit costs, and improving competitiveness. The African Cfta is also interesting for Nigeria because Africa demands finished goods, and Nigeria aspires to industrialize and progress beyond export of agricultural commodities. The African Cfta will be a catalyst for Nigeria's export diversification by providing preferential market access to Nigeria's products and services in the huge African market, which currently sources over 85% of imports from outside the continent. The African Cfta therefore provides a platform to make every state and community in Nigeria economically viable and resilient through export and intra-Africa trade. Trading under the African Cfta, we will see export growth in the following sectors: transportation, manufacturing, ICT, agriculture, oil and gas, and financial services exports, sectors, where we already have a comparative advantage over other competing countries. In agriculture, we have identified specific opportunities in oil palm, sugar, tomato, cassava, soya beans, cotton and garments, livestock and leather, amongst others, with strong linkages to domestic manufacturing. While in the services sector, we see software development, data center provision, fintech and outsourcing as strong opportunities to create jobs. To ensure that Nigeria can realize the opportunities that exist in service exports, including business, professional, and educational services, we will be guided in the negotiation of those mutual recognition agreements that will increase the mobility of our professionals and certified artisans, enabling them to work across Africa without any discriminatory national regulations. Let me list the key value creation that this agreement will deliver to the Nigerian economy and how the implementation of the agreement will lead to the reduction of poverty across the regions of the country. The African Cfta provides the platform for deliberate development of strategic products and services value chains for export trade. Some of these include automotive and auto parts, rice, sugar, textile, insurance, health, and education services. The principle of cumulation applied to African Cfta rules of origin is designed to support the development of regional value chains, providing a strong incentive for local sourcing and investments in value addition. Connecting the MSMEs in agriculture, manufacturing, mining to export value chains through an effective aggregation program becomes an essential element to diffusing the benefits of expanded markets. To this end, our national strategy will implement the following accelerators. an MSME aggregation program to promote specialization and increased productivity through efficient linkage of production clusters to the trade ecosystem, connection of MSMEs to e-commerce platforms and emerging technologies to promote visibility and accessibility of their products to a global audience at low cost. Indeed, by leveraging these digital technologies, Nigeria hopes to create alternative routes to market for MSMEs, both within Nigeria and beyond our borders, supporting production clusters in manufacturing, agriculture, and services. To drive SME e-commerce export transactions across borders, the National Action Committee on the African Continental Free Trade Area is working to develop toolkits that will identify market opportunities, import requirements for products across markets, and communicate processes for exporting under the various preferential trade agreements. Through this process of enabling local sourcing and value creation, we will create the much-needed jobs in line with the federal government's commitment to lift 100 million people out of poverty over 10 years. Let me outline the key strides made by the ministry in the core areas of industry, trade, and investment in Nigeria. The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment has achieved great strides in implementing its mandate of industrializing Nigeria's economy, improving the business climate, attracting foreign investment, ensuring the growth and development of micro, small, and medium enterprises, and creating jobs. For industry, we have commenced the implementation of the Backward Integration Program to domesticate the production of priority products. Our goal for the Backward Integration Program is to increase local production, create jobs, and reduce the demand for foreign exchange. The identified priority products are sugar, automobiles, palm oil, dairy products, cassava starch and cotton, textiles, and garments. Fast-tracking the establishment of 6 world-class special economic zones across the country. These are located in Ibom in Akwa Ibom State, Lekki in Lagos State, Funtua in Katsina State, Benue State, Kano, and Calabar. We have commenced the review of the Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan to reflect our economic realities and aspirations. Some of these realities include the 4th Industrial Revolution, the African Continental Free Trade Area, and climate change. We are working to implement the National Infrastructure Quality Program approved by the Federal Executive Council to improve the quality of products manufactured in Nigeria and eliminate the rejection of products and expand the markets for made-in-Nigeria products in major off-taker countries like in Europe and the United States. For trade, Nigeria signed the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement on the 7th of July 2019, as earlier mentioned, and submitted her instrument of ratification to the depository at the African Union Commission on 5th of December 2020, becoming the 34th country to ratify the agreement. As stated earlier, the ministry has been negotiating various aspects of the agreement and implementing measures to ensure Nigeria is ready to benefit fully from its participation in the agreement. Also following Nigeria's ratification of the World Trade Organization Trade Facilitation Agreement, we have, through the National Trade Facilitation Committee, developed the National Trade Facilitation Roadmap to ensure simplification, modernization, and harmonization of trade documents and procedures for easy flow of goods and services in international trade. We have repealed and reenacted the Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990 and developed CAMA 2020. A much improved law that provides a robust framework for reforming identified legal, regulatory, and administrative drawbacks. The major highlights of the Act include the migration to a new company's registration portal, introduction of e-certificates with QR codes, and tax identification number on e-certificates. Nigeria moved up 15 places in the 2020 World Bank Ease of Doing Business ranking, primarily due to reforms introduced by this government. It also emerged as one of the only 2 African countries to be named among the top 10 most improved economies in the world. Nigeria's ranking stood at 131st in 2020 and has moved up by 39 places since 2016. Nigeria also moved up 11 places in the World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness Ranking in 2019. This feat was as a result of conscious efforts, including the establishment of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, in July 2016 by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari. For investment, Nigeria has recently articulated a renewed philosophy towards international trade and investment. We have successfully revised Nigeria's Model Bilateral Investment Treaty, BIT, to include a specific provision for investment facilitation that institutionalizes the principle of supporting investors to actualize their investments. Nigeria has adopted a new bilateral investment policy direction to promote investments based on a philosophy we term as RIBS, that is, responsible, inclusive, balanced, and sustainable policy framework for promoting investments that meet the country's economic development objectives. The 4 pillars are fundamentally grounded to ensure investors commit to 1, the responsibility of environmental provisions, compliance with international labor standards and human rights, and corporate social responsibility. 2, an inclusive approach that both mobilizes investments and creates jobs. 3, the incorporation of the balance of rights and obligations between investors and the respective host state. And 4, the prioritization of sustainable development goals as stipulated in the 2030 United Nations Agenda. A testament that the business environment has improved is the recent capital inflows achieved in the tech sector. Nigerian fintech firms have attracted over $600 million funding over the last 5 years and have seen an almost 200% growth in investment over the last 3 years. The Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, has continued its effort to drive greater attention to subnational investment opportunities in Nigeria, leading to the development of the Book of States. Finally, allow me to highlight the major areas of collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and state governments across Nigeria. The ministry collaborates with state governments via various platforms, such as the Nigeria Governors Forum and the National Executive Council, to help achieve various goals and objectives. We work closely with various committees on these platforms to drive reforms and implement various initiatives. For example, we are part of the NEC Committee on Exports, which aims to stimulate exports, save jobs, and protect export businesses from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the NEC Committee on the Industrial Council, which aims to accelerate the growth of Nigeria's manufacturing sector. On the subnational program for the African Continental Free Trade Area, several state governments have established their technical working groups to work with the National Action Committee on the African Cfta. Also, the Secretariat of the National Action Committee, in collaboration with the Nigeria Governors Forum, just concluded a 3-day subnational strategy workshop on the African Cfta. The event provided a platform to support the states in the development of a framework to identify their areas of opportunity and commence the development of state African Cfta strategy. We also collaborate with state governments on trade promotion and trade facilitation. We work with state governments to localize trade fairs and participation of MSMEs in regional fairs. Each state is represented on the National Trade Facilitation Committee by 2 representatives of the 36 states. Ladies and gentlemen, or gentlemen of the press, I have tried to put together a picture of the role my ministry is playing in growing the economy of our dear country, Nigeria, and I hope I have succeeded in doing so. I thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much.
We'll take the questions 4 at a go.
Nigeria, and you're asking that what is the quantum of investment that has been attracted since the signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area? Well, I will not sit down here and say to you that this amount of money has been invested. The NIPC is doing a collation, and once that collation is done, I think towards the end of the year, they will come up with the figures that of the amount of investment that has come into Nigeria. But I'm sure if you have been following you report the news, you notice that lately quite a lot of investment has been coming into the country. For instance, only a couple of days ago, Mr. President went to, virtually flagged off the commencement of the building of a hospital that is being built by the Afrexim Bank. I think between 300 and 400 million naira. Only in the news 2 days ago, it was announced that an American company had almost concluded the purchase of Main One, which is a tech company here in Nigeria. So there are a lot of investments that are being made. All these figures are being put together by the Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, and by the end of the year, they will come up with a report which we will make public, so that we'll be able to give you exactly how much money, how much investments have come into the country in this year. Thank you. With regards to what is being done to curb smuggling, well, we are in we have held several meetings as a ministry with the Federal Ministry of Finance and with the Comptroller General of Customs. Coincidentally, after my program here today, I have a meeting with the Comptroller General of Customs also to address this issue of smuggling. You are all aware that for, I think, about 2 years, the borders were closed on the orders of Mr. President, also in an attempt to curb this smuggling issue. So a lot is being done by government. Different measures are being taken. I'm sure you're aware that one of the things that government has done is they awarded contracts for scanners to be used at the seaports to enable them scan the containers that bring in goods and all that. I'm sure you're aware of the work that is being done by the Standards Organization of Nigeria, which is a parastatal under my ministry, to make sure that substandard goods are not smuggled into the country. So government is not sleeping. We are aware of the damage that smuggling is doing to the economy, and steps are being taken to see to it that a stop is put to smuggling of goods into the country. Channels TV, I'm sorry, all I can say to you again with regards to the National Industrial Revolution Plan is that we are working on upgrading and reviewing the old Revolution Plan. We are hopeful that within, I think, Director Trade, when will the NIRP? I know, but you should have to. First quarter, yes. I believe by the first quarter of next year, we should have a document that will be ready to. Yes, and we are reviewing the.
So are you saying after 6 years you are still reviewing this plan? How much time do you have?
Madam, the one that is being reviewed is the one that was existing.
That's exactly my point.
Yes, what is the point?
After 6 years.
Yes.
The
The plan was operational. We started reviewing it this year. We started the review this year.
So how much is being accrued from the manufacturing sector right now? Because the original plan says that it's supposed to be like 5 billion.
I cannot be held responsible for the former plan. You can only hold me responsible for the plan that I put in place.
How much is accrued from the manufacturing sector at the moment?
Well, I don't have the figures with me right now. With regards to the question from Tribune on the ranking on the ease of doing business, that Nigeria is not a preferred destination for business today. Preferred destination from the continent today. Well, there are various factors that the reasons for that are various, and the major one being the security problems that we have in the country. And as you are well aware, the federal government is making every effort to resolve the security problems so that we will go back to the position of being the preferred destination. However, having said this, the feedback that I'm beginning to get lately from some of the people, the foreign governments that I've been meeting, is that our position is getting better, because there seems to be a big interest now again in investing in Nigeria. So I'm sure as time goes on, we will begin to see an improvement in that situation. What is the position of TINAPA? Well, I'm aware that there has been an interest shown in TINAPA by a tech company. There's, I think, one of these tech companies has shown an interest. I know that an approach has been made to the governor of Cross River State with a view to seeing that they want to take it over and turn it into a tech hub. So I think the talks are going on in that direction. What is being done to revive moribund? Yes. With regard to moribund industries, my technical team in my ministry has come up with a proposal. The proposal that they have come up with, we are going to take to Mr. President to get Mr. President's approval for it. If Mr. President approves it, it will put us in a position whereby we will be able to raise funds to try and revive many of these companies. A review is being done. A census is being done of these industries with a view to seeing which ones can be immediately revived. And because we are not, like I said in my comments, we believe that manufacturing can be used as an avenue to create jobs for our unemployed youth. So we want to try as much as possible to see what can be done to revive these industries. Okay, what is the target of the ministry and how much has been achieved? Well, I think for us as a ministry, what we are looking at is how we can get people employed. I think the priority of this government is to reduce the unemployment figure. And a lot of what we have been doing has been geared in that direction. I think I don't want to just throw figures at you that would sound impressive, but I can assure you that with what we've been doing, we've been engaging with the organized private sector, the various chambers of commerce, the Manufacturers Association, the various industrial bodies, and there's a lot that we're doing to assist them to see to it that they stay in business. Because as you're all aware, the last 2 years have been very, very difficult years because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It made life very, very difficult for manufacturers. And one of the first things that we did when the pandemic hit was we set up an emergency operations center in the ministry to try to see to it that that manufacturing went on, especially manufacturing and movement of key things like food, water, beverages. We had this emergency operations center operated for 24 hours a day, whereby and we were in touch with the various checkpoints along the various routes to see to it that the police did not unnecessarily just stop or harass the transporters transporting these goods and things. So we created that avenue to make sure that that went on. Government set up the economic sustainability plan with a view to seeing to it that money was made available to assist people who were affected, who were badly affected by the pandemic. 75 billion went in that direction. So a lot has been done by this government to see to it that not only do people not lose their jobs, but that more jobs are created. So our target is, like I said, President has given a target of getting 100 million people out of poverty over 10 years, and we are working in that direction. The nation, Gundere, you talked about agricultural products exports and the rejection of our goods. And that is why my ministry took to the Federal Executive Council the National Quality Policy. And the whole idea of this policy is to make sure that the quality of goods that we produce or that we are exporting are of international standards. We have partnered with the Afra-Exim Bank, and the first quality lab that is going to be operational in Nigeria, I think, should be ready by the end of this year. It's in Ogun State, I think in Abeokuta in Ogun State, whereby goods of Nigerian goods will be put to the quality test. They will be certified. And once they have that certification, I think they're being certified by one of the international inspection agencies. Once they get that certification, anywhere they're shipped to in the world, there will not be that problem. So, and another thing that we're doing is that we're, rather than just exporting raw materials, we are encouraging people to add value to those raw materials. Because by adding value to those raw materials, you are also doing one thing. You are creating jobs here as well, rather than exporting jobs to other countries. So we are in talks with the African Development Bank. They are, I think we're expecting their board, we're just expecting their board to meet to approve the facility that we're trying to get for them to set up special agro-processing zones in Nigeria. We're going to have these special agro-processing zones. 8 states are in the first phase, and once the approval is gotten, contract will be awarded for the setting up of these special agro-processing zones, whereby people will set up companies and manufacturing facilities for the processing of our raw materials so that there will be value added before export. And that will also add to the quality of our exports. Business Day, you asked me the question on the auto policy. On what is the plan for made in Nigeria vehicles. As you're aware, as of today, vehicles are assembled in Nigeria, but they are not what we want, because what we're assembling today does not give us the proper value chain that we want. And what we have done in the ministry is we set ourselves a target. We held meetings with these same original equipment manufacturers, the car manufacturers and everything, and they said, yes, they want to set up businesses in Nigeria. However, they need protection for whatever investment they want to make. And based on that, we now we now looked into setting up, having a proper auto policy. What we have done is we now approach the Afro-Exim Bank, who have partnered with us, and they are funding, I think we've, who did we, I think it was one of these consultancy firms, one of these international consultancy firms. We've employed them. They're going to be paid by a grant that we've received from the Afro-Exim Bank. I think it's Ernst & Winning, E&W, or Deloitte, I think. They're coming up with the auto policy. It's being funded by the Afro-Exim Bank. And once the auto policy is ready, we will take it to FEC. Once FEC approves it, it will be taken to the National Assembly and passed into law. Once it is passed into law, the original equipment manufacturers, these automakers, will now know that there is a law that protects their investment, and at that point, they will now come and invest in Nigeria. And what that does for us also is the fact that once that investment is being done, already those who manufacture components for motor vehicles as well will start to invest in Nigeria as well. Already, I was in South Africa recently for the Intra-Africa Trade Fair. I met with some component manufacturers. There are those who are interested in coming to manufacture batteries in Nigeria. The tire manufacturers that used to operate here have started showing an interest in coming back. So once we get this auto policy put in place, then things will start to move in the proper direction. Okay, you see, we come from Ekiti. We produce a lot of jam where I come from. No, you'll be surprised that those jams that they say come from Ghana actually come from Nigeria. The major problem that we have is one that had been mentioned earlier, smuggling of our goods. A lot of agricultural produce are smuggled from Nigeria into Ghana and exported from Ghana. You'll be surprised that even our crude oil is exported from Ghana as crude oil from Ghana. So there's a lot of problems with that, and these are the areas that the government is looking at with a view to plugging the leakages. And why do people smuggle agricultural produce to other countries to export? Because of the problems that we are having with regards to exporting our goods from our own ports, the cost of exporting from our ports, the problems with the infrastructure to the ports, the problem with the delay in exporting from our ports. And these are issues that I believe a cabinet committee has been set up with a view to resolving these issues so that it will make it easier for us to export goods from here without the attendant costs and delays that exporters presently are faced with. So that will soon be a thing of the past. Made in Nigeria mobile phones, yes. These were made by the Industrial Training Fund. And what we have done is that we have been able to attract interest from local manufacturers who are in discussions with the ITF with a view to manufacturing these made in Nigeria mobile phones. The whole idea was the ITF came up with the concept, and they're talking to local manufacturers who will produce the phones. Security challenge. What are the manufacturing challenges apart from security? Well, one of the major ones is power. As we all know, we have power issues in Nigeria, and that is why one of the things that we are looking at is setting up of these special economic zones, special agro-processing zones. The whole idea of setting up these processing and industrial zones is that we will, part of the infrastructure that will be put in place for those zones will be power. We'll have roads, we'll have water. All the things that are required will be put in those places. So all you need to do as a manufacturer is come, list the place, and all the infrastructure you need will be in place. That would help with to make life easy. And one of the things that we're also doing to assist manufacturers in regard to infrastructure is we are in talks with the NNP, the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, with a view to reducing the cost of gas. Many manufacturers are already generating their own power to power their industries, but the cost of the gas that they are asked to pay does not make them competitive. In fact, they pay more than even the companies that generate power. So we are saying to the Ministry of Petroleum that they should sell gas to manufacturers at the same price that they sell to the Gencos, so that they will, since they are also generating power, they should be given that opportunity to be able to to buy gas at a price that would not make their goods uncompetitive. The Dubai Trade and Investment Forum. Yes, there was a Trade and Investment Forum on the sidelines of the Nigeria Day at the Dubai Expo 2020. And it was a very interesting forum because it brought to light the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, that Nigeria again is becoming an interesting destination for investment. There was a lot of interest shown there. And apart from the investment forum itself, Mr. President held a few bilateral meetings. And the key areas of interest that were shown were in the iron and steel industry, the health industry, because there was interest in coming to set up, what do you call it? Vaccine manufacturing plant in Nigeria. There's a UAE company that has shown an interest in doing that. So there's that. There's the iron and steel industry. There's interest shown in iron and steel. There's interest shown in power, especially in renewable energy, because there was one of the companies that came and they said that they're interested in coming to do renewable energy here in Nigeria. So these, like I said in a recent interview, these trade and investment forums that we attend, they give an indication as to the interest that people have to invest in Nigeria, and it gives us as a country an opportunity to advertise our country to the world, to let the people know that we are ready to accommodate them. We are ready for business. One of the things that we keep harping on is the fact that we are the largest individual population. We have the largest individual population in Africa. We are the largest market in Africa. Of the 1.3 billion African market, over 200 million is Nigeria. So anybody that wants to do business in Africa, we always say, if you want to take advantage of that market, there's no better place to start than Nigeria, because you have a ready market in Nigeria, and you can use Nigeria as the hub and then spread to other African countries. And that is the message we always take out. Thank you very much. It is being sorted out. The president, as you are aware, the federal government is making every effort. We're buying a lot of equipment. They're equipping they're increasing the size of the police force. They're equipping them. They're equipping the military. They've been able to get some attack aircraft now. I'm aware that the army will be buying some helicopters soon. So a lot of effort and a lot of funds are being put in that direction with a view to resolving the security issues. And another thing that we're doing, maybe I should mention this as well. We are looking at when people want to invest. Everybody wants to invest in a safe area. So to make it attractive for you to invest in a place that is not so safe, we will be giving various incentives. So for instance, let's say you want to invest, we invite you, we say, come and invest in the Northwest. And you say, there's a security problem there. We say, no problem. There's a security problem there. However, if you invest a certain amount of money, these are the incentives that we will give you to enable you to go and invest there. And that is beginning to reap benefits because people are beginning to show interest in that kind of thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Hey, I believe we've had enough of this. No.
Well, the African Development Bank is in partnership with other banks, I think the Islamic Development Bank, some other banking institutions are showing an interest, and I think that the first phase will be about $400 million. The Industrial Revolution Plan expired in 2017, right? So we have come in with a view to updating it and reviewing it, so that hopefully by the first quarter of next year, we will have it in place, and it will be the Bible for the way forward for industry. Yes. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.